with them. I'm going to start the recording now. So for those who weren't here, you missed. We just got done in some breakout rooms, and we are talking about how do you overcome when you're in a bad mental state. And I think the number one driver in that is understanding your why. So we just broke out into rooms together, and we all shared our whys with each other. And so now we're going to talk about some techniques to do that. So here is the thing I think we as humans do the most, and I think we're all guilty of it. How many of us focus on the things we can't control instead of the things we can control? Guilty as charged. So, right, you have to remember, we live in a wildly different time than humans have for the last 5,000 years. Last, 4,009, 820 years of it was food, water, shelter, right? And like, we are trained to be hyper aware of our surroundings, and because it's a preservation to keep us alive. Like, oh, hey, I would like that lion to not eat me today. Right? I would like, if you're from Alaska, like Eiley, I would like that bear to not have me for lunch. Right? Like, but that's how we lived. And vice versa. Like, hey, where am I going to get my food from today? Where am I getting my water from today? Do I have enough wood to just stay warm? Right. So our minds naturally do that. But we'll go focus on what we can't control instead of what we can. Okay. So this goes back to activities, objectives, results. Okay. AOR. You're going to hear me talk about, as long as you're in the sales training, AOR. Okay. And it's good for your personal life. It's good for your business life. Okay. The problem is too many people try to manage the result. Okay. The result. I want to make $7,500 this week. I want to make $1,000 this week. Okay. That's great. That's your result. But what's your objective to get there? How are you going to do that? Right? Are you making calls? Are you sending follow-ups? Are you reading a book to get better at sales techniques? Are you listening to a podcast? Are you jumping on like this, a sales training? Are you going to a switchboard training? Right? Those are all objectives. But again, we try to manage those. Okay. Objective. I'm not going to let this person in my life make me feel this way anymore because I don't like the result. But if you're trying to manage them instead of the activity, that's where it changes it. So we'll start on the personal side. Activity, right? I'll share something very personal with you guys. I don't talk to my mom. I don't want it that way. I don't wish it was that way. I wish I had I want a relationship she's incapable and unwilling to have. And it took me a lot of years and a lot of therapy to give myself permission to be okay with that. But the activities I've said to her is, I would love for you to be in my life, to be in your daughter-in-law's life, to be in our family's life. But a relationship is a two-way street, and you have to put just a little bit of effort in. I don't need a ton, but I can't have zero like we currently have, and we've had that for years. And so we just, that's a position we're in. And it was hard on me for a long time, but the problem is I was trying to manage the result of the relationship and the objectives of the relationship instead of the activities. I'm going to focus on what I can control, which I have. And I did for years. Like, I was the one who called her. I called her we would check in with her once a week, once every 10 days, but she never called back. She never texts back, right? Like those kind of things like that. I don't want that for me, knowing my why. I don't want that kind of human in my life. I want people in my life that want to be in my life. And if you don't want to be in my life, that is okay. Right? But that can affect us at work, right? Does that put us in a bad mental state? Does that get us understanding there? But, going from there. So now, what can we control on our activities for work? We can jump on calls like this and dial together. We can control how many phone calls we make, how many times we touch a client. We can control, whether we like it or not, what kind of mood we are in. One of the greatest things we have as humans is we have the ability to control how we react to every situation. We might not always like how we do it up front, but you get to choose that. You get to choose what has power over and what you don't, or whether it pisses you off or it doesn't. And it might initially do it, but you can choose to put the activity in place that doesn't let that have you happen. An hour before this, I had a brand new digital lead come in, and this lady got on the phone and was rude and nasty to me, like for no reason. She's like, "I've already talked to people." Rah, rah, rah. I'm like, you reached out to me. Like, this is the time you did it. Like, I don't know you, and I wasn't mean to her. I'm like, I'm sorry you're having a bad day. And she literally got mad and hung up on me. And I just sent her a text, and she was like, and she came back at me, and I just said, "Hey, I don't think I'm the right agency for you. I hope whatever day you're having gets better. I know you're not mad at me, and I'm sorry you're going through that, but I'm not the right agency to help you. I hope you get coverage someone else." Right? Like, really being able to say that and be okay with it in business and your personal life. Um, you know, a little more mature Trevor can do that now. Old Trevor would have fired back.
You really send you really send those messages, Trevor? Would it like I, I would just not call her back. Like or not I would just would I but I'm glad that you do that. But can you tell me why so I can understand why you would even respond to her at all?
Because I want her to have a better day. She's not mad at me. Like, I want her to like step back and think later, like, oh, like that, like maybe me saying something nice to her gets her out of that funk that day. Like, maybe it gets him out of that funk that day. And what I don't know what's going on. Maybe somebody just died in their family. Maybe they just lost a pet. I don't, maybe they just found out they're sick. I don't know what's going on. And maybe I can say something that, and it goes back to me knowing my why, right? Part of my personal mission statement is I want to make positive, impactful differences in people's lives every day. So that could be as little as walking by someone and, seeing like, oh, hey, they got a new pair of shoes on. Hey, I love your shoes. Or, oh, man, you see like you ladies, right? You got your nails done. They're fresh. They look good, right? And it's fall, right? We got the fall pumpkin colors going. Like, oh, hey, I love how your nails look today. Little things like that. You don't know what that person's going through, and it might totally change their day. Like, it might do that. So for me, it's the why, right? And there are people I just block, and I'm like, well, I don't want to talk to you again. But I don't mind like saying, like, hey, I'm sorry you're going through what you're going through. I hope your day gets better. Like, because it's not nobody, that person isn't having fun. Nobody wants to feel that way, right? We can all agree, like, there's nobody that wants to like feel shitty. Like, like nobody's ever like, yes, like I can't wait to feel like crap today. Like, nobody wants to feel like that. So if I can do something to change, like, I'm trying to, just like when we're on the sales call, I'm just trying to shock their brain to go down another road, right? I'm trying to like get them to rock there. And that's something I can control. So, right, you hear us talk about it a lot, but how many of us do it? Whether you're typing it on your phone, typing it up on the computer or writing it out. Do we really do a gratitude journal? Something I've really tried to been focused on with Mel is we talk about each day with each other what we're thankful for. Like, hey, what are we thankful for? Like, really? And it can't be the same thing every day. Like, even though it is, like, to get us to look at all the really cool things we have in our life. And, like, one of them for me is, hey, I got to, help a family that, wouldn't have had protection otherwise, things like that. So that's what we can control. So back to the activity side of it, right? That's what I can control, right? I can control that in there. And it's because I know what my why is, right? I really understand that. And then again, it's so cheesy, but it's true. Like, I don't care if you're like a morning or a night person. Like, so I'm fundamentally against the gurus who are like, you have to get up at 4 in the morning, and I get up at 3:27 a.m. and I 15 minutes of meditation. And what? Well, guess what? If you get up at 10:27 a.m. and you're up till 2 when I'm in bed at 9 or 10, what's the difference? Right? Like what, like I don't care like time wise when you do it, but it's about a routine, right? One of the things that help us to get out of that funk is establishing that routine, right? Like, I shared Okay. And we're about to go back into breakout rooms again. So I shared our affirmations, and those are literally the affirmations I read. They're in the shared drive folder. You all have access to them if you don't have your own, right? They're there. So what I want everybody to go talk about now, and I'm going to split everybody up different again, is what do you do for affirmations? Like I can't stress enough, um, like how much difference. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna keep everybody in the same room. I think it'll be cool to get to know everybody better. Um, how much doing that activity will radically change like your thought process. And I want to hear others. Like I want to like because I want to know. This is me being a little selfish. I want to hear what others' affirmations are. So like this will be shorter. We're gonna do like 3 to 5 minutes. Go in there, talk about it. And if you're not, have the honest conversation that I'm not doing that activity and I know I should. Because I can guarantee you if you are, it will radically change your life. Like radically. So all right, so let's open this up. All right. Is everybody going? Yep, everybody's going.
Yeah. So like I know I know to some people like words of affirmations, are like whatever, right? But also I read this book, Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. And in that book he's talking about like they just gave you a gift. Like they took the time and energy to say that nice positive thing about you. And if there's any part of you that like rises up against it, like you're like, that feels wrong, right? You need to take that gift because if somebody else can think that about you, whatever it may be, why can't you? Right. And so that was like a monumental thing for me was writing, like having that notebook of so and so thinks this, so and so thinks that about me. Now, you don't do it with the negative stuff, right? Because that's you don't want to do that. But that way you can keep track and say, like, okay, this is how people see me, and I need to make sure I see myself in this positive of a light too, right?
And
So
right, and things like change so much, right? Like think
yeah.
about right now, think about October 2024 versus October 2023 and where your life is right now compared to where it was a year ago.
Yeah, drastically different.
Right. Yeah. Like, so it's there. So right. So then as right, we all talk about that with each other. Like I can't stress that enough. And, we said it, we were talking about it, that the and or, right? Quit having limiting self beliefs. Like that's another one, right? Like it doesn't have to be or, it can always be and. Um, you can always make an and that's up to you, right? Are you a good mom and a great agent? Are you a good mom and a good agent? Like, or whatever that sets out to do, you can do both, right? Am I a good partner and am I a good, family member? Like all those ands can be in there, and so you change that because it's also about learning how to like detach from the outcome of the result. We're not doing it for the result, right? Like if you do it for the result, you're pretty much always going to be disappointed. Um, and I was talking to one of my really close friends the other day, and we were talking about like people. So, and we can all probably agree we've met some of them. People do stuff for others, and they say they don't want anything back, but then when they don't get anything back, right? Like it's like we've probably all seen that. And I one of the things that has personally really helped me when I say I have zero, I really have zero expectation out of anyone else. Because then when I get something, it's a gift. And it's like, wow, that's awesome. Because I really don't expect it. Um, and that is like not been easy. Like it's something I've really worked on and like trained my brain to like learn how to do. But how like that I take that into right into this job. I'm not offended when they don't show up. I'm not offended
Trevor, how do
just
you do things
text.
without how do you do things without focusing on the results? Because I think that's where I have trouble with, because I want to see results when I'm putting in the work. I want to see results. So I would have like a certain standard that I would set for myself.
Okay.
And I think that's where the focusing on results comes in at. So how do you not focus on that if that's really what you're
Because you're
aiming for?
because you're managing the result, not the activity. So let's pick on one for you, okay? What's a result right now? What's a goal that you're trying to achieve? Like what's one for you right now?
The 5,000 a week
Okay,
thing
5K
that,
a week.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Have you ever hit 5,000 a week?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so we have. So we've done 5K in a week. So we know Miss Angela can do 5K in a week because she's done it, right?
Yeah.
What are your objectives to get there? So like, do you have pen and paper in front of you?
I'm writing on my phone.
Okay, cool. So, right. So think about it in a pyramid, okay? The
Okay.
result, 5K week, okay? The objectives. What are the objectives to get there? How are you getting there? What are those objectives?
Well, I definitely need more phone time that I haven't been doing. So that's one thing.
Okay. But what is the objective within that? So this is where if you don't have a clear, concise path,
Okay.
you're not going to get there. Okay.
So
So
5 apps a week would get 5 to 7 apps a week would get me there.
perfect. Okay. So that's an objective. Okay. What other objectives, right, do you need to be able to get there?
More resources for more leads.
Okay. Right. So that's an objective. Like I have budget, right? Like, whatever that number is, that's an objective too. Okay. So now you can take that and take that and work that out within you. Like look at those. So here's the problem I would say you're probably trying to do. You are trying most likely to manage the result and the objectives instead of the activities. Okay. So now what are the activities, the things you can actually control in order to make that happen? What are activities to get you to 5 apps a week? What are activities you can do for that?
Phone consistency, I would say, is a big one, or just being in front of people, but that's reaching out, whether it be phone or in person, consistently. That's going to be huge. Um,
Right. And what's that activity look like? Do you have it planned where, hey, I have this scheduled time during the day and this is my dial time? Like if I show you my calendar, I have my dial time knocked out every day. Like this is what
like
I'm
50,
dialing.
50 calls a day,
Okay.
splitting it up in 10, what's her name was saying the other day.
Yep. So that's an objective. The activity is actually making the dials. So stop trying to manage the objective of it, manage the physical doing of it because you can control that. You can control whether you make 10 calls, take a 5 minute break, 10 calls, take a 5 minute break. You can control that part of it, right? But if you just try to manage uh, the objective side of it, right, you'll fail. And then it goes back to what we're talking about, right? Like
Oh,
then you're
I've
going
been failing. That's what I've been failing at. I'm like, why does that keep happening? So, because I'm focusing on the wrong thing, is what you're telling me.
yes.
I have the wrong focus right now.
Yes, because you're trying to manage things you can't manage. Okay. Tyler brought up in the chat. It is a fantastic book, Atomic Habits. Okay. Because it's the same thing. Like I've I read a book in 2009 that really changed my focus on sales management about this and like really helped me understand this. And it was a game changer and it has been
What
ever
is
since.
what's it called?
I'll put it in there. It's cracking the code to sales management. Um, but it's literally this. It's I'm breaking it down in this area. Okay. I'm breaking down the whole book into what the core principle of it is because it's a core principle for me. It's AOR, right? Like again, triangle, results, objectives, activities. Okay. Because you're like, right. So now you're in your emotions, like we were talking about, because you're frustrated. Like, hey, this is where I want to be, and I'm not here.
Right.
Okay. And then you keep trying to manage the things you can't manage. So, okay, right. So, like, it's going back to what can I physically manage in my day? I can manage how many phone calls I make. I can manage how many texts I send, right? I can manage those type of things. I can't manage whether they answer or not. I can't manage whether they show up to their appointment or not, but I can manage if I follow up with them. That I can manage. So learning how to manage your activities and breaking it down to there will radically like change the way you process and look at everything. Because then it's going to take you from where you're at now. Hey, like I'm hearing my emotions. That's okay. Right. Like I'm here. We're acknowledging it. All right. Like we've said it. And now we're going to put it aside. Okay. We know that, hey, here's your 5K. Right. But, and if you get there, you are going to be able to have one of your objectives. Right. You want more money for leads. Well, if you do the activities to get you to those objectives, the result will be 5K, which means, and if you're placing that, you're going to have more money. So, and I won't rob my lead budget. That is a non-negotiable for me. The first thing I do is pay my lead budget back. Okay. It's inventory at a restaurant. It is new product for Amazon. If Amazon doesn't buy more inventory, they can't sell more stuff. If Target doesn't buy more Stanleys after they sell them and they use that money to buy something else, you can't go get your Stanley, right? We can't be successful if we don't have more leads. Well, I didn't sell enough this week, so now it's there. Well, it's the exact opposite. So, right? And I'll pick on an IUL, right? This is why I like an IUL versus a 401k, one thing, okay? If you have $100,000 in a 401k and the market goes down 22% like it did in 2022, you're down to $78,000. But guess what? It can't go back up 22% and be at 100K anymore. You're only going to be in the 90s because you're at 78. It's the same way with lead in your inventory, right? If you say, hey, this week, I'm only going to spend 100 instead of 300 or 300 instead of 500, guess what? You don't have as many people to call. And, right? So you have to take that money and just put it back into there. And that's an activity you can manage. So as you go through that, really map your activities. And if you focus on those, you'll all of a sudden be like, oh, I hit my objectives. And when I got to my objectives, that got me the result I was looking for. Like that's the key step ladder. I don't focus on so that now I look at it because I want to know what it is. $7,500 a week is my goal, right? I want to write 7,500 a week because I know some of it's going to place in a week or two. You know, we got people on Social Security and all that fun stuff. So I'm trying to write 7,500 a week. Okay. But I don't focus on that, right? I focus on how many people did I text? How many people did I call? And, you know, understanding that, you know, things are going to happen within that. And then detaching from the outcome, right? Detach yourself from when you fail, it's okay. Like it just happens, right? Like this is right. We're going to lose like in sales. Did you get a chance to come and look at the sales training I did on Monday on the Purdy National Call? Did you get to go through that, Angela?
I was there. Yes, I was on
Right.
that
So
call.
you saw that data about follow-up? Like
Yes,
that's just factual, right? That's all activity based, right? That's all activity that flows into that. So again, it's focusing on there and then driving down the road. So all right, bye, Miss Chris. What you got, Eiley?
So
Thank you.
I can't remember the exact words that you use, but so you say you go into these appointments without any expectations or how do you do that without self-prophesizing a no sale?
That's actually a really good question. I like that. Because I am trying to focus on helping them. My focus isn't on making the sale, and it's never about selling them something. It's about showing them benefits to solve their problem. I'm trying to be a problem solver, not a salesperson here. Right? Am I going to solve the problem of you being able to protect you and your family if something happens? Am I going to be able to help you have more cash in your IUL for your retirement if something happens? Can I focus on that instead of, oh, I don't know how I'm going to buy more leads if I don't make the sale, right? Like that's going to come off of us, right? Like, oh no, like if I don't get this, like my cash flow is going to suck. And so, right, so that's how do you get back into that? Like, how do you go to, um, how do you go through that back to what activities are you managing on that sales call? Okay. Are you focusing on the result that I need to sell them a policy, right? Or the objectives are, I need to know what coverage they need. I need to know their health situation, right? Like I need to understand that. So then it's what activities can I do to manage that? Um, I can say, hey, I ask, are you benefit as once I get through it, right? Not setting the appointment. I'm talking about in an appointment, right? I ask them, are you really benefit focused here? Does that matter to you? Are you budget focused? And it's okay. And I tell them, and it's okay if it's a combo, right? Because most people want the most benefit for what they can afford, right? But I want them to say that out loud, right? Like I want them to say, yes, the benefits matter to me instead of just budget. How much this cost? What's the price? You know, because we're going to get those. We're going to get tire kickers, especially on digital leads, right? Like digital leads, you're going to get, I call them tire kickers, right? They're in the car lot. They're never buying the car. They're 73 years old, diabetic with gout and, on high blood pressure, and they want $200,000 in permanent coverage for $80 a month. Like that's now, can we show them? Yes, but it's setting it up to, instead of focusing on there, it's I'm focused on how can I really help you? How can I really make the difference? Like I have an appointment with this woman. The thing she said to me, like it's the best compliment I get. She said, "You're the first person I've talked to that actually explained all of this to me." She's like, "I understand now." She's like, "I know I need it." She's like, "But I didn't understand it." And everybody was just talking over me. And because I could hear she didn't get it. So I kept asking her, hey, did you get this? And she was in her 70s and she just didn't, she knows she wanted final expense. She didn't want her kids to have to pay for it. She's got $150 a month. We can get her coverage, but she didn't understand how it worked because everybody was just trying to slam her into a policy and like get it there. So I try to say too, I tell them up front now, when this is over, I'm going to ask you to explain what we're doing to you, and we're going to stay on the phone until you can't. Because I want them to be able to really get, okay, and I'll make them say, like with it, I'll pick on America. Yep, hey, I'm getting 25 grand. I know I have living benefits. It's going to cost me $125 a month. And I'll say, what's the critical benefits do? And then they'll say, hey, if something happens and it's less than a year, right? Like I want to hear them really explain it because then they're feeling better too. They're like, man, I like this coverage. I understand what it does. So the first month it's tight on the budget and something happens, we don't get a stupid chargeback. Right? Like I hate chargebacks. Like I hate them. But right, I mean nobody likes them, but it's understanding that. And then so goes back to what we started with today, right? Can you get frustrated when you feel like, oh, I should have wrote them a policy, but I didn't get it out there, right? And then like really empathizing, right? Like I understand why you feel that way. I can see how that would be frustrating or important to you, right? Like I can see why helping your protect your kids to not have to pay for that would matter. Oh yeah, and then let them talk, right? But be solution oriented, not problem oriented, right? We know the problem, they don't have coverage. We're trying to be like a solution expert. And like really ask for feedback. Like I'm really okay. And I tell them I'm I need you to be like brutally honest here because I'm going to have a lot more families in my life to help. and I want to help them, tell me what you feel I did good or bad. And a lot of people don't want to tell you anything bad. And I'm like, tell me, hey, could I have explained this better? Um, you know, and even when it feels tough, like staying calm, cool, collected will help. Right. If they feel you're upset, they're gonna hear it. If they hear you're in a good mood, they're gonna hear it and see it. Like so the thing I do all the time when they ask me how I'm doing, and I'm like, I literally say, I'm just trying not to get in trouble with my wife today. Right. And if it's a dude, I get a great joke. And if it's a female, they laugh even harder. Right. Like most of them get a good chuckle. So, right. Like I'm trying to create that within them. So, um, and I know what, and sometimes it's just okay to let go. Hey, I can't help that person. So, and be okay that, hey, like sometimes it's tough and we can't help them. So, yeah. Anything else for me as we finish up here today? Awesome. All right. Boys and girls.
If
That
if
was
no one else,
awesome, Trevor. Thank you.